Okay, guys, so for episode number 4 of the online coaching series, I want to dig a little bit deeper into the physical platform that we operate on as an online coach. So to start with, I'm just going to walk you through the onboarding process essentially that a client will go through at Bullstrong, just because I find that this is probably the easiest and most relatable way to kind of walk you through some of the systems that I have in place within that onboarding process, where the majority of your platform will kind of be orientated around. Obviously, once a client's up and running, they're in full understanding of the processes and how everything operates. It's very much just a rinse and repeat process with minor adjustments every week or day, depending. But that onboarding process takes a lot more of an input on our end to get that client up to speed in time. So I'm going to walk you through real quick the onboarding process. So let's just say that for whatever reason, the client that the proposed client that I'm going to play the role of here has come across my services via Instagram. They've maybe seen some of the transformations or some of the competition results, and they're really happy with what they see, and they want to look deeper into the coaching services that I offer. So they'll see coaching is a link. So they'll jump onto that link tree, and this is what they are greeted with. Now, I think a link tree is great, and I really would recommend having a link tree or some derivative of this stepping stone platform that Linktree is, whether it be Instabio or whatever, because it's essentially, as I say, a stepping stone from interest to conversion. So you can have whatever you want on here. Obviously, I'm trying to offer more than just a simple coaching service. I'm trying to provide value through content, publication of results through a news page, convenience through a calculator, links to my sponsors, blah, blah, blah. Fundamentally, all you need is one of these two. Okay, either or both is great. Let's say for whatever reason that this client decides they want to see a free consultation call. They will click that link and they are greeted with this. Now, this is the Calendly, I guess, landing page in a sense. A lot of the time you'll be greeted with a slightly different page that you'll have to click on the consultation to get to this page. I slightly modified the URL to where it just brings me directly here. But this, I think, is great because it gives the client the convenience of selecting when they want to book in. Oh, I'm on holiday this week. Book in next week, not a problem. And we as a coach can outline the times that we set for this call. So, for example, if you are someone who's incredibly busy and regimented within your schedule and you only want to dedicate 1 day per week on a Thursday morning, boom, you can do that. If for whatever reason you aren't, and you are like me and you quite like the idea of a consultation called breaking up your morning of check-ins, open up the whole morning. Obviously, you're never going to fill 9 through 2 of consultations every day. Or if you do, you're doing really well and you don't need to watch this video anymore. So I think the idea of just opening up your weekday mornings, for example, is great. Now, let's say for whatever reason, the client selects Thursday the 14th. They think 9:30 works for me, confirm. They'll enter some personal details, press schedule, and boom, it's booked. They will get a confirmation. You will get a confirmation via text, email, or both. And they are booked in, and you can then call them whenever that time slot comes around. You'll have reminders. It will make itself an event within your calendar. It's super convenient, and it costs like £14 a month. It's really, really worth it. And it's as you can see, it's quite a professional piece of software too. So what it looks like on our end, I'll show you what it looks like here. Obviously, I can't go into any detail and show you anything more than that for confidentiality reasons, but you can see that the next time I've got some calls booked in is Thursday morning. So it will see here, if I tap on this, as I say, I can't do it, it will just basically say that I can call them. So I'll call them and there we go. We're away on our consultation call. And you can play around with your availability to where you can set the schedules for the times that people can book in. It's fantastic. Now, I've managed to fortunately find some integrative software to where once someone has booked themselves in for a Calendly consultation, it will redirect them to this application form over here. So the application form, like the consultation, will have its own personal video later in the series. But for a conclusive wrap-up real quick, I think it's really important that you have one of these. Not only does it give you the information you need in terms of things like anthropometrics for setting that client up, but it also gives you a real taster for who you're going to be working with, and you can learn a lot from this. I recommend getting it done immediately, hence why I have that redirection, because if you've got it done prior to the consult, when you're on that consultation call, not only have you already got an understanding of who you're dealing with before you get on there, but you can also ask the right questions. So you can see, okay, so he's using quite a lot of performance enhancing drugs. That's not good. I want to look into that. Or, oh, she's having troubles with her menstrual cycle. We should take a look into that. Oh, he's really picky with his food. We need to consider that. And those are things that you'll then want to go on and ask about within the consultation. It's not critical, recommended to do it beforehand, but as long as obviously you've got it prior to the setup of that client, you have everything that you need. Okay, so I would just recommend getting it done at some point. Now, looking from a more objective standpoint now, in terms of your platform as a coach, I really recommend using Google Drive, mainly because it's interactive, it's live, you can have dual input in terms of both you and the client can both contribute to that drive. Or at least their folder of the drive anyway, with what they have access to, which of course you control. So I think it's really, really useful because you can separate generic and personalized documentation and attach who should be on what. So I'll give you an example of what that means. So within the Bullstrong drive, obviously, I only need to go through Bullstrong. I don't need to cover the website or the branding or anything like that. We're going to look from a coaching standpoint. So in terms of admin, obviously, there's going to be things like welcome folders where my clients get access to my ebooks. They get access to meal planners if they're on using macronutrient targets so that they can plan their meals. This is essentially just my slightly modified version of my fitness pal. I basically robbed the algorithm. A virtual logbook, if for whatever reason on their training log they don't like the format that I've asked them to program in, or ask them to log what they're programming, ask them to log the training from their program in. Then it's another few different ways that you can essentially logbook. It's a different style of logbook just for convenience of the client. A welcome pack, which does what it says in the tin. It welcomes them to the service. It gives them information about what I expect from them, what they expect from me, how the service works, all that sort of useless yet kind of interesting and required things. Video tutorial section, which we'll come on to in a second, but that is basically your frequently asked questions in video format. In fact, we'll look briefly. So it's kind of like, if they don't understand how to fill out the tracker, they watch a Loom. If they don't understand how to check in, they watch a Loom. And it kind of just covers all of the frequently asked questions within a video, because you don't want to waste time answering every individual person's question again and again and again, unless it's, of course, a tailored question. You can't automate the personalized aspect of coaching. And if you try and do that, you'll fall off the market because people will lose that personal touch. But generic questions like, oh, I don't understand how to check in, you can do a Loom video for that because it's such a generic question. So for all of the generic frequently asked questions, I have a Loom video here. Moving back to the drive, the rest of the admin stuff is all just things that you can imagine you'll need. So a template, so a basic sheet. So it's got there a blank training log, a blank diet plan, a blank weekly tracker, a blank check-in form, and then you just go in and build it individually. Forms, so that's going to be all the application forms, the coaching feedback forms. So if someone leaves, what do we do? Calendars, so this is useful for things like menstrual calendars for clients. It's useful for competition calendars, so when are the powerlifting competitions, when are the bodybuilding competitions for each of the feds, things like that. But we're getting into too specific of details here. With clients, I've given an example here for this. I have a folder for everyone because I think it's really important that they all have their own space where they can contribute whatever they like to. So you can see here, this is a list of everyone on my plus tier. I don't mind sharing the names because it doesn't show anything personal. This is an example client. Now, obviously, I'm going to use a blank example client because it is pointless giving you any other client because I wouldn't be able to physically show you from a confidentiality perspective. So I'm just going to use a blank bit of example here. This is what I would structure their folder like. So we have blood work, check-in photos, any injury rehab if they're dealing with an injury, what videos am I going to film to show them how to complete their rehabilitation program with, a menstrual cycle log if it's a female, training footage, so if they've got any videos that they want to upload for me to take a look at and analyze their technique and they don't want to send it via WhatsApp, they can upload it here. And then, of course, their coaching sheets will be in here. Now, I'm not going to go into this because this is a whole video in itself and it will be coming very soon. But coaching sheets, how to build them, how to operate them, what goes in them, all that sort of stuff is going to come to you. But that's an example there of how to structure your kind of coaching avenue of your Google Drive. I hope that makes a whole lot of sense. And I hope that gives you a good introduction to the organization that your platform as a coach requires. There is obviously a lot of other things that we have to organize and tools that we have to use, but they slot better into other videos than this generic overlook. So hopefully that helps, guys. Hopefully you've got a good understanding now, and I'll see you in the next one.